Yo, what's up guys? Another Siege video against Teikou and Light Hope. So both pretty high ranked. At this moment we are ranked 6, Light Hope is like rank 8 and Teikou is like rank 10, 14-ish. And Light Hope actually started switching up the defense, preparing for a khmun figure getting nerfed. So they use a lot of Zenobia twins, Sierra twins, that kind of jazz. So let's actually see how that works out. So I do try to showcase some of the runes here and there. That one is pretty tanky right here. So I did forget it from time to time, but I try to implement that more, that I actually show the runes before I actually go in. You kind of have to pause the video, or I pause the video for you. But yeah, that Asher is pretty tanky, so the idea was pretty much they probably don't do enough damage. They were actually really slow. That Zenobia is super slow because my fairy is not that fast, and yeah, the plan was just to CC them. And the moment in this team, if you kill Shaina, this team is not gonna do that much. Zenobia is mostly the damage dealer, but yeah, if you just kill out the Shaina, it's probably not that difficult of a team. So either you kill the Shaina or you keep it CC'd. So in this case, I check to keep it CC'd, and then as you can see, like the other units, they don't do too much by itself. Most of them, it's really difficult to actually rune them up really good. It's just gonna ask you a lot of rune requirements to rune up this team to make it actually work. And the main reason for that is you have to be fast, you have to do a lot of damage, and you have to be not that squishy. Well, in this case, they are reasonably fast. No, well, yeah, except for the Zenobia. They don't do too much damage, and therefore the whole team is not that great. So that's pretty much the issue you fight with doing any of these. And yeah, is it therefore always that good? But we had some struggles with the defenses. But always when there's like a few new defenses, you always start to struggle. It's like, okay, can we outspeed it? It's like, can we outspeed it? Can we, because can you illusion this if you outspeed it, or do you have to out tank it, or is it actually like super tanky? And the fun part with these kind of defenses is that one can rune it like super fast, the other one can rune it like really slow, and that kind of jazz. So one can rune it on like fire, the other on swift. So it's actually more difficult unless like you actually keep track of like every individual player, like what do they use, what do they rune. So then we had to fight one more, and of course I don't show my MST, so the things that are on defense I'm not gonna show. And this was pretty risky, I noticed later. So I expected them to hit the Tiana. This team had a lot more damage than the previous one that I hit, so they actually killed my Tiana in the first turn. But as you can see also, they do have a lot of damage, but therefore they also lack the tankiness. So Shaina is actually reasonably tanky. I kind of needed that proc there and not getting stunned there. So it was a luck sack. I don't recommend using this team, but that's kind of what you can see, like the difference in how these things are runed. So recommended team, not really. Could it be used? So as you might have noticed, we're fighting a whole bunch of Martinas in this one. So this is actually net 5. It is with Sierra. Therefore, I thought like, okay, they steal a lot of buffs. They do get stacks from that, which is annoying. But also my Bolver gets an insane amount of stacks from that. And mostly they don't have that high accuracy. And this whole team here is 100% resistance. Well, we got hit on the first hit. We got hit on that. So it's actually useful, but he didn't do too much damage. And from here you can start stealing some HP, which is pretty nice. You can switch that up. Only issue is if you get the unit stunned, the Skogel stunned multiple times, then it might be an issue. So that's kind of what I had to watch out for. Kind of wanted to steal more HP here just to be safe, because if I heal for 10, or if I steal for 10, I actually heal for more. So here I was kind of hoping for a proc, or at least a freeze. Instead he procced, but at least I had immunity. I procced out of that, which was also really nice. So therefore I had the bare limit of enough damage to actually hit his ass. So here, if I do this, Sierra will S2 probably. on this bomb S2, so she would hit herself as well. So, and then with the Skogel and this hit, she probably dies. Or you just do that, and then you take another turn, and then at some point, well, even if Bolvik dies right now, it doesn't really matter. Let's see how much damage Skogel does. 60k. 60k! So then, guess what we're fighting again? No, I've been fighting this thing like pretty much the whole freaking time. So this is a team I saw some of my guildies use. Again, most of it is on defense, except Raccoonian. No, Rena and Raccoon are not, but they're just tanky, like typical things. So, issue was actually I didn't really expect Raccoony to get armor broken that often, which kind of made things difficult at some points. But again, if you kill out the Shina, you're pretty much in a Gucci spot. But it was actually more risky than I expected, because you don't do that much damage, and I was getting armor broken like left, right, center, pretty much. So it's a little tricky. It's still a little tricky. I wouldn't say this is the best counter, but it's a reasonable counter. Also, my Raccoony was not that good. Wait, I'm calling it Raccoony. It's Ranuki. Hit this the Ranuki. That's why he died. I called him Raccoon. That's exactly why he died. That's how that's how Ranuki dies. You call him Raccoony. And he's like, fuck this shit. I'm not Raccoony, I'm Ranuki. So today I learned. But still, we're still fighting. We're still Gucci. And the thing is, the moment you're at this point, you're pretty fine actually. Because the moment you kill Shina, this team does absolutely nothing. Like really close to nothing. Simply because only on procs will Martina actually do more damage than just the initial strip. And Zenobia's not gonna kill Rena in like a million years. It just doesn't happen. She could stun her, yes, but that's as crazy as it gets. Like if she procs a lot, stun, that's it. And here I probably went for a second, but yep. And then you just got the thing like, okay, he's stealing my shield, I have to kill that shield. But at some point you just proc, you do more damage, it's not that bad. Or Martina starts focusing the wrong unit that actually doesn't have the shield, and then it's also fine. So yeah, I just put it on auto and you get there. So this is a reasonable counter, but you kind of need like... Raccoon should have been more tanky. I think that would have been better. Ranuki, important. So then we're fighting one more Martina! No, I didn't fight 10 Martinas. At some point we I couldn't find more Martinas to hit, so... This thing... was reasonable tanky, but I knew he's doing a lot of AoE. So with a lot of AoEs, if you bring in that whoa, take a chill pilsy, yeah. Jesus, no one asked you to go 4 turns. No one wanted to see you go 4 turns. Absolutely unnecessary. But no, like I was saying, Tiana just adds in like a lot of with her passive. She is good. She's just gonna get turns and that kind of stuff. Rika 100% resist, so yeah, it's pretty nice. Also, Shina is probably moving first in most of these teams, so they will always focus like a wind unit. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Also, resist lead, it's pretty helpful and that kind of stuff. So this is a pretty legit counter. And then we had to fight one more. Okay, I went for something stupid. I'm like, okay, what if you just go like triple revive kind of units, self-revive? But I ended with a Tetra, and that Tetra was not a good pick. So if I had like an Ayunu here, I think that would have been better, or something else. I'm not sure. Like the first 2 units actually kind of worked, but I didn't really expect Tetra to die out that easily. But it kind of did. So what you want to do here is get rid of the Sierra, and then it should be easier, but this was just not that good of a team. This was, to be honest, not that good of a team. Maybe I should have glanced in the middle. I should have glanced in the middle, would have been better. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, if I did glancing in the middle, then there would have been a lot more or less damage on that. So, yep, and then it was too late. So I kind of also expected Pisama to die first, rather than Tetra dying first. So that was kind of a mistake. And then it was pretty close. Like if Pisama would have died first, and would have done his damage, it would have been maybe better than Tetradyne. But yeah, can't always win. So finally, we have a change in the team. Typical Tiana team. Typical Tiana team. So if your Tiana's not contested and a Gianna team, you go in this. That's why you have to, if you put in Gianna in each defense, you gotta put something to contest Tiana, because this is just the easiest counter ever, and you see me unit use it 100 times, it always works. Unless you got really RNG. So then, my typical offense, it couldn't miss. It took me about, what, 7 hits to actually use my most typical offense. That's pretty long. And then I got to the point I got out-noobed again. Because no one has will, and then I missed a bomb. And then he derps, so that's nice. And then he procs, but he derps again. So he's like kind of saving my ass. But since 2 units of him outspeed, he has the speed buff, you don't really push them back. Yeah. Bombstone resist, procky, nice arena. We got this. Boop, still easy win. Procky out of that, sure, fine. We just stomp you with a critical link. They're Nemesis. It's pretty interesting to have him Nemesis actually, but most of the time you don't really expect teams to be full non-will, but yeah, it happens here and there. Is it good because it just shows good against the Gianna? Yes. Is it good against everything else? No. Especially if people, like, if you're at a higher guild and people know you're using non-will. Like, I know some people, I can call out some people, you always have non-will. People just know it. People just go in like Galleon Bernard X. Easy win. Easiest win ever. Like, if you go Galleon Bernard Pisama against this, or Galleon Bernard Poseidon, easy win. So then at the end, we were already pretty winning, so I had to go for some more weird offenses and defenses. I never seen this with Hyannis and Perna, so it was pretty funny to see. But in general, anything with Savannah at the moment, you just Leo it, it's not that great. And my Nigong and my Juno are actually on defense as well, so they're pretty good ruined. The funniest thing is the unit with the highest resistance actually got armor broken, which is pretty weird. But yeah, I thought if I just get rid of the Perna, it's gonna be a-okay. He doesn't have any sustain then, and my Juno actually does a decent amount of damage, and that Beast Rider just thought like, I'm going ham. I have no care about what you guys doing. I'm going ham. So, but then at some point you're in torrent range. Zbap. Nice heal. Mandrake is actually a nice skill, but it just reduces the buffs by 1 turn. So I still have a 1 turn buff. So even if you kill here, it doesn't matter. See? So Mandrake is pretty nice for just removing will runes, but it doesn't get that much further than just removing will runes. So actually, because of the torrent, it was easier to kill off the Savannah early on. And now we got into a second torrent range. Zabap, you did. Torrent is just such a nice skill. And then for the final of today, we got a hit, of course, a Martina with Sierra. This was a pretty risky-ish defense, but I thought it would work. So the main idea is that you're hoping that they don't steal your immunity and buffs. And yeah, that's about it. I was actually surprised about how slow he was. And you just have Balladion is just a tank. I don't care what happens to Mr. Balladion. It's just tanking. And then Sion is just there to do a lot of damage. The only thing I was worried about right now is that Sion would die. So if Sion dies and the Martina starts hitting it, then she gets like all of the buffs, which was kind of the risky moment, but besides that, pretty easy. So that's it for the siege. And as you can see here, this is where we started winning. This is where we started going blue map. So we actually won with pretty much like 2k points, and they barely had like any towers like after this. So that's how we won. Interesting siege, cool to see lots of Martinas, and I'm not sure how many Martinas they have in the guild. I think 10, maybe more, but they used it with Zenobia, they used it with Sierra, which are both, it's not necessarily really new, but it's an interesting use and it gets rid of like the khmun vigor meta, so they are already preparing for that, so interesting to see, and thanks for watching, see you in the next one.